Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a Thursday conversation series that I'm restarting here called Reimagined Together. Every Thursday, we'll be going live with really great friends and guides, new paradigm leaders, speaking to specific subjects and angles on what new paradigm leadership really means and how we can become new paradigm leaders, and then reimagining together what new paradigm societies can emerge as we start to come into this new way of being ourselves. So today I bring back, and I'll put in the links, Laila's first episode, which was Expanding the Mind. And we're going to continue with a little series on how to expand your mind. Dr. Laila Al-Alwan is a, neuroscientist, researcher, whole essence coach. Do you have another kind of life path that I'm missing here? There was another one.
Awareness, intelligence, advocate, and educator.
Yes. Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you, Laila. And while there's so much that we can talk about with Laila, and we'll continue as we expand our minds to have lots of expansive dialogues. But in today's conversation, we wanted to talk about a really big basic. Laila brought it up in one of my conversations with her the other day. She's like, well, let's just define awareness for a second. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Sometimes we use these words and we think we know what they mean.
Yeah.
And it's like, do we? Maybe not. Let's be on the same page.
Exactly. Let's be on the same page. I mean, there are different people have different definitions of different words, right? And awareness is one of these words. First, let me say thank you very much for having me back and for connecting, right? So, and I look forward to having a really fruitful conversation today. And from now on, eventually also helping each other to grow our awareness, use our awareness intelligently, hence awareness intelligence. And of course, whomever watch the series, hopefully they will also expand their awareness and expand their mind. So you were saying about what we discussed on what is awareness. And well, we always speak about we need to bring awareness to something, right? Bring awareness to the age of disruption, bring awareness to our patterns, bring awareness to racism, bring awareness to et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what does that mean, right? It's like, it feels like you are pointing at something. Mm-hmm. Hey, look there, right? See what's going on there. Pay attention. And that's what awareness for me. It's to see. Mm-hmm. To see with curiosity, without, well, that's another thing, I guess it's a big thing, is without judgment. And when I'm saying without judgment, I mean without trying to avoid putting bad or good, just seeing, right? I'm seeing a wall. I'm just seeing a wall, right? And I just want to point out that us as humans, we do have judgment. We have to have it. We have to have sort of the categorizing, right? This is something, where do I categorize it for me, right? We give them names. The wall, the behind the plants, and I don't know what, it's me, or female, you, whatever, right? And now we are just more expanding on these categories. So categorizing is a human necessity or tool. Mm-hmm. And sort of judgment also is a tool, because you need to be safe in the world, right? But then the problem now is that we are using that judgment way too much on other people and ourselves. And the awareness I want to bring, and I think that people need to bring to themselves and their lives, is just to see what is going on. Look from the outside. Try to not engage in the feeling. Well, I do have feeling. I am feeling upset. I see that I am feeling upset. Why? I'm feeling upset. What happened? Or I'm seeing this person feeling upset because I said something. Do I have now to, sort of react to that? Not necessarily, right? That's where awareness. Why are you feeling upset?
So if I can repeat back to you a little bit, and then we can keep.
Oh, please.
Wait. There's a little.
I'm sorry?
I'm hearing a little bit of noise.
Oh, sorry. I have kittens. And they are playing in the background.
Wow, they're really playing.
Oh yeah, they can be playful, really. And sorry, I cannot stop them, really.
We can envision little kittens playing.
I was praying that they won't start their playing time now, but hopefully they are going to calm down.
So cute. Okay, so how you're describing awareness, I love this. I want to walk through it slowly. So if we think of what does it mean to be aware, as we become more aware, we are able to see more, more of ourselves, more of our systems, more of people, of all things. We bring our attention onto something so that we can see more of it without judging it or boxing it or trying to understand it.
Yes. Well, we need to try to understand it, of course, right? It's just not boxing it, right? At least not at the beginning. Not giving a verdict, let's put it that way, right? Seeing it and eventually measuring it. And we are going to talk about that in our life, right? Does this help me? Does this help the people I'm trying to work with or I'm in relationship with? It's not necessarily that it's bad or good. Well, I mean, if we speak about bad and good, there are bad and good, but in general, it's like some things are just to look at it at the beginning, at first, to see, you put your attention there and question yourself. How is that affecting my life or affecting my reactions? And so it's like you start with the awareness, then you go to the understanding. Or maybe you start with awareness and then you go to the understanding,
Yeah, I love that. So if we had a specific example, of practicing awareness, or to show our awareness at work. I mean, our awareness in a given context. So let's say I'm in the middle of a fight with a friend, or want to be a friend. Let's start with the beginning of it. A friend or a friend, a best friend, does something that I have a reaction to. Reaction. So in my storytelling, immediately we go to the grocery store and she goes to pay for all the groceries. And we've talked about it before. And I said, you have to stop doing that. Goes to pay for it. And I'm having a reaction and I'm storytelling. Like, how would I bring, so what would awareness in practice in that situation? If I'm not really practicing awareness, what typically happens? And if I am practicing awareness, what would be different?
Okay. Thank you for this example. It's a beautiful example. It's an everyday example. And is this a real example, or is just imagined for yourself?
No,
so far?
Well, I mean, it does come up, right? I feel like that's something when people.
Well, I mean, it happens. It's just that I just wanted to know if it's personal, because what I was going to say, if you do not have awareness, you probably are going to be angry. And again, well, okay, let's say there are different people, different reactions, right? One of the people will react that is like, I told you before, you shouldn't pay for me. I don't know what, and you don't, I don't know, there will be a problem, right? But then since you are best of friends, sorry about that. Since they are best friends, I don't know how is that going to take you in the relationship. Another person would say, I told her, she didn't do it. And then they keep it inside themselves, right? They wouldn't, but it's going to be kept inside, building one on top of each other. But in all cases, the feeling is you are angry because you were not listened to. You were not your wish was not respected, right? You were sort of not important in this case, or in this instance, that your word is not important. And that is not a good thing, especially from for both you and your friend, because the negative emotions eventually may explode in a time where you do not know even, or it may not be warranted, but it's that. And the problem is that this person is thinking she's doing good.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not aware how her good or kindness affect you as her friend.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you are aware, and what do you need to be aware of, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You need to be aware of, well, why you're upset. And right? You don't want her to pay for you. Why you do not want her to pay for you, right? Second, why is she not listening? Even though you talked to her before, right? So that's where the trick is. Why you do not want her to pay for you? Why she's not listening? The way I'm seeing it and the way the brain works is, so there are parts of our brain, and everything we do, our brain is trying to find our worth. In the old time, it was more a survival instinct. You need to be protected by fight or flight or freeze to be protected and fawn sometimes. So then you survive and propagate, right? Now we do not have to go and hunt for our food. We are not living in caves or on top of trees. We have houses, we have everything. So that instinct, that basic instinct that we are having to protect us, is coming to protect our worth and our importance. So in both you and your friend is paying for you for several reasons. Could be that, well, she's generous because that makes her good. And if she's good, she's worth. She's being kind. That makes her good. If she's good, she's worth. Right? So it's like, it's how she was raised, and what makes her feel good, feel in control, feel powerful. Like all of these are about her worth. For you, probably in the situation that you do not want her to pay for you, is that the fact that she pays for you takes your worth away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Makes you feel like, well, I can't pay for myself, right? Or you want to give me, I want to give you too. Let me pay for you, right? I want to be good too. But all of these are background. I wouldn't say story, it's just background instincts. Background is coming from your brain. You do not even understand. You do not even think about it twice. All you know is a reaction that, oh my God, she's doing it. She's paying for me, and that makes me upset. I don't like her paying for me. I can't pay for myself. Does that make sense?
Completely. And I love you kind of breaking down and simplifying also that the what is the brain's goal? What is it trying to do, or at least this level of the brain, right? Or is this?
Well, there are different levels. So there's and I call them actually, so there's the baby brain. That's what I call, which is the instinctive, or if you want to call it the reptilian brain. That's based on worth and fear. That's the one that is always wants to protect you. So your reaction if you get upset, so it's like the emotions are love, that means safety. Fear means not safe. You are not safe. Your worth is, or your survival is being targeted, or you are in danger. So that's how that brain feels, and its language is usually the emotion, the feelings. You feel happy, that means you are safe. You feel loved, you feel worth. You are feeling bad, angry, upset, whatever that feeling, you are in danger. You're fearful for your worth. There is another part of the brain which we have as the humans, which is the logic and the ego. That's where the ego is. And I like to call, or sort of make that, simplify it as a computer.
So interesting. Laila, keep going. I have so many questions. Okay, but keep going. Sorry.
So, and this computer, it's like, it's really all depending on the programming you had. That's why the difference between you and your friend is her programming. If she gives, she's a good person, and she can belong, she can feel safe, she's powerful, she's blah, 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 worth. For you, your programming, your logic is that if you are given, you're not as good. You need, or your power is being taken, right? So that's why the logic in the computer brain is really not necessarily logical.
Correct.
That's why you can see a lot of people say, this is logical. It's like, no, it doesn't sound logical to me at all.
So I can't even explain, like when people are like, well, it's just, it's just logical. Like, I'm just logical. And it's like, well, no, everybody thinks it's logical. Like,
exactly. And that's what's so scary. Is like logic is really depending on how you are programmed, how you see things, right?
And okay, I'm loving this. We're building. And so what we're also getting in that kind of logic, ego side of the brain, what I'm hearing is, how is that programming designed? Well, it's designed around that safety and worthiness, that reptilian emotional part of us. So it's built narratives and programming stories that are trying to protect our emotional well-being. Is that
our safety? So it's like, think about, as I said, it's a baby brain. That baby brain would always either feel one or the other. It's feeling afraid or it's feeling safe. The computer brain, or the logic, or the ego, is the one that makes the action now. Make you act on these feelings. It's like the baby brain starts crying, wah, 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 right? That activates the computer brain. Okay, we are having these feelings now. And then seeing all the things we have been through, we have been living through, and in our society and the environment, our parents and everything, we take that as, okay, so this is the programming. That's what I should do. That's what I need to go for. Now, it's very complicated. It's more complicated than that, but let's put it. So that's when you have the programming, right? It's like, think about it as a computer. It's like running the program. Now, one part of this computer brain, or the logic, is that it wants to make you always want to prove that you are worth, or make you worth, right? It's like, according to the program, it's like, I need to do this. So, but then you keep falling for the things you do not like. Right? It's like, sometimes I don't want to spill my coffee, right? I need to be very careful. I need to be very spill the coffee, right?
My life, yes.
Or so it's like, as they call it, the Murphy law, right? It's like it falls it falls on the bad side. Exactly. So that actually happens because now your brain, the computer, is always looking for proof that you are worth, but then in the things that it thinks that you are not worth. And that's where all the criticism comes also from, right? Mm-hmm. So then it keeps seeing things that, okay, you've done, you were told when you are young that you need to get A, always A's, right? So you are a good person, you are worth. Now you get all A's and except one, maybe A minus. And then your computer brain, your logic or ego is like gonna stick on that A minus.
And why? What is the what is that kind of self-critic, Gregor? That ego that wants
you to do better. It's like, let's prove that you are better. If you have an A minus, you are not as good. And again, I'm saying that depends on your programming. It's always on your environment, what you were told, right? Some people are not told about the A minus, or it doesn't matter to them. So that doesn't matter to them. I'm just giving examples of things I've been through myself. And then it's from one person to the other. It's really, as I said, it's more complicated, but I'm just simplifying it. It looks at the things that somebody told you are not worth because you are having an A minus. So your brain is like, I don't want them to tell me I'm not worth. I am. So I'm going to try and be worth and catch myself or catch my mistakes before they do. So then I can correct them before they criticize me. And nobody knows you better than you are. Better than your brain. So your brain is going to catch everything you do, and it's going to criticize you in everything you do before anybody else criticizes you.
So we could almost look at the way that you're describing it reminds me of kind of this, the light and the shadow of all parts of ourselves. So the light part of us, that wants to improve, that wants to expand, that wants to grow, which when it's done in a healthy way, because we have a good sense of health, of worthiness already, we're satisfied with what we have. So it's on external, so there's a healthy version of that growth.
Absolutely.
There's a shadow version that most of us live in.
Absolutely. And that's where awareness is so important. We need to be aware is that whatever our brains are doing, they are trying to do it to protect us. Except that they are doing it sort of the wrong way because they don't know better. They were taught that way. And the problem is that this is really generational. It's like since the old times, we have these problems because someone thought of it. If I want to feel better or more worthy than others, I have to put the others down, or I have to control them. Right? So there are different ways where different people's brains work to prove that worth. And that's where all the stories that come also from it, right? The victimhood, the hero, the controller, you name it.
Right. Okay, so so I'm loving this. So we've got reptilian baby brain, sensitive, emotional, that's looking for self-worth, that to keep itself safe and worthy. And that part, and then next layer is our logical ego, which develops around that emotional, central, connection and need to support, do whatever it needs to, this complicated machine that builds whatever these initial core wounds, as we tend to look at, and
yes,
kind of hurts the reptilian in us at the beginning.
Exactly.
Like, well, computer programming all around the wounding.
Exactly, it is, because when you are a child, most of the active part that is active in you is the reptilian brain, the basic brain. That's what we share with all other animals. And then as you grow, your computer brain, your logic and ego grow with you, right? And it's growing around these core wounds, around the programs that it has been fed. And it's sort of interpretation to these programs. Like, I would give you another example of a person who's being raised as, let's say, religious, right? And there was a lot of discord in what they had heard about in religion. They feel that it doesn't make sense. God is not there. They had a lot of problems. And then they flip over completely to the other side. So they reject all that they have learned there, but then they go against it 180%.
Guilty. I've done that in my life a few times.
I've done it too. So in a way, here, or interpretation, if that's wrong and that's causing me all these problems, then the opposite, the complete opposite, is the right. And then we try to look at things in a different way, and everything that is related to that just irks us, right? It's like, makes us upset, don't want to hear about it. All it's wrong.
Right. Well, it's a wonderful example. I'm glad you bring it up, because actually on this channel in particular, I think it's very important when we talk about new ways of understanding spirituality. And as we come into as spirituality expands, and I truly believe is something that can be and is studied by consciousness. I think there's a part of our universe does make sense, and I don't think we'll ever fully understand it, but they're working together, and they can. But it took me many years because I had a very poor relationship with religion growing up. And so, anything that, even though I was highly creative, very connected in many ways, believed in storytelling, awareness as a practice of life, and craved an understanding and a connection to something larger than this, silly world that we can see with our five senses sometimes, I still wouldn't let myself entertain that too much, because I was so sensitive to my experience of understanding religious control. And
look at that, and you will see that because of your understanding for the religious control, and you are rejecting it, that's wrong. I am right. And if I'm worthy, if I have the power, I have to reject that completely. We cannot be both right.
Exactly.
Because they have put me down. They took my worth away.
In whatever, yes. Yeah, it's a very funny little game.
It is.
So is there another level, if we keep, is there another part on this? I love
Absolutely. Absolutely, of course. So awareness. Awareness is what I like to call the adult brain. Where's the adult in the room, And in this room, this adult is with us. It's been always with us. It's connected, as you said, to the whole universe. It's just that the noise from the baby crying all the time, the programming keeps running havoc and we are bombarded by this programming. around us, every human being, every interaction. Imagine every person, they have these. So we need to listen to that awareness, to that adult. And that's why when I say this adult is going to look, is going to see, oh, the baby brain is afraid, and it's understanding why it's afraid, and it's okay that it's afraid because it's just a baby and that's how it acts. Computer is thinking this way. It's just a computer. It would run on the program that it has. So yeah, it's okay, fine, of course. I mean, I cannot say, oh, you are wrong, I should shut you down, I should break you down, and that's a lot of people are doing. It's like, fire the hamster in your head, or don't listen to your head, or it's all in your head. Yeah, it's all in your head. And if it's in your head, it's in your life and it's true to you. But then how do you change it? Rather than fighting and preventing, don't think, try to break it, try to suppress it, try to this, try to do that, try to get up, busy here or there. No, just listen and teach. Think of these things as it's a baby that needs to be taught in a different way, needs to be told, hey, you are feeling upset or you are feeling unsafe, you are safe. Right? And the computer, well, we need now some, McAfee maybe, antivirus and changing and reprogramming. But just like in the computer world, in the real computer world, whatever that is written on the motherboard and the hard drive, you may delete it, but there will always be, like it can, with advanced technology, it can be retrieved. It's the same with your brain.
Yes, ma'am.
So don't try
to delete
to delete or think that it's not going to come back.
Right.
That's the trick here. That's where awareness is. Awareness is, I am seeing these things and I know that this is almost natural. Is it right? Is it helping me? No. Right? So that's where it is. How can I make it help me? Now, do I think if I change my programming, it's going to be deleted forever? It's not going to come back? Bad news for you. No, it's going to be there and it may come back because you were born and you were exposed to these things. So just be ready for it.
Right.
Just be ready for it. And that's where I'm saying no judgment. It's not about judging, oh, you are wrong, you are screwing my life, you are like, why are you criticizing me all the time? I hate myself. Right? It's like, well, yeah, I'm having these feelings and there is probably some basic, I'm not feeling worth it. It's like, okay, give myself some time maybe. And then, okay, what am I going to do now? How am I going to move forward?
Beautiful. Okay. So that we don't overwhelm too much, I want us to kind of keep I'm just loving the simplicity of this because it's true. We hear so much about awareness, but I don't know, maybe I haven't listened to enough stuff. I've kind of been unplugged for a while, but I don't hear a lot of specific conversations that kind of simplify and really talk about what exactly is it though? We all think it is. So I love this look. Awareness allows us to observe these other parts of our brain. And as it expands, is understanding that there's no deleting a program and our core wounds, so to speak, our emotional, our reptilian brain is always going to be active. So as long as these two things are still happening, it is awareness and the expansion of awareness that will allow us to recognize it faster and hopefully make healthier decisions that aren't automatic based on whatever.
Absolutely.
And so I'm trying to think, there is something, if I'm working on my awareness or if I want to know, okay, Laila, I feel like I'm pretty aware.
I feel I'm pretty aware. Okay.
Tell me, if I'm testing my awareness, what is a good way for me to go, oh, maybe I need to bring some awareness or some attention to X, Y, or Z?
Okay, so I mean, there are a lot of things I could say about this, of course. I'll just go back to what you said about the expansion. So the first awareness is us awareness of ourselves, how we are programmed and how that affect us. But if we I think is the word extrapose, I think, or like see that in another human, we are going to understand that other humans are like us too, right? They have their own programming. So we are going to be aware of them. So that by extension expands our awareness. And if you think about it, how amazing is going to be if every person became aware of themselves.
Yeah.
Because they are going to take responsibility, right? Just like you were asking me now, how do I know if I'm aware or not? Mm-hmm. Well, we are all aware.
Right.
You are alive, you are living, you are aware, right? You see things, but the awareness we are having in life in general is not enough. So I would say, well, at least that's for me. Mm-hmm. Just like Socrates said, the more I know that I do not know anything. I translate that, the more I'm aware that I'm aware of nothing.
Right.
So I'm always surprised. I was like, oh my God, it's like, there's always this eureka moment. It's like, I didn't think of it that could happen to me this way, right? I thought I was aware, right? So that's the first thing. It's like, you need to be constantly living that awareness. And it's not one time and I say, I am aware. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right? So it's like, as a metaphor, I would say, if you are on top of a building, for example, and you sort of go and look around and you look down, you see things happening, I don't know what, and at one point maybe something will attract your attention, you pay attention to it, you try to understand it, you may need to go to the ground, check it out, what it is going on exactly, and then you will need to go back to the top of the building and keep just looking around, right? It's like, it's always an opening and open. It's like, just be an open-minded. That's one of the things. So if you find yourself closing, too much focus on one thing or specific things for a long time, right? Too much emotions are coming and you are starting to get like reactive and things, then that means you need to step back. You need to get out. So there is no really, how to say, there's no, you are now having A plus, in awareness. It's just that you are aware, you are not aware, and you are the only person. Well, you can tell from people sometimes when they are reacting and acting and things, right? It's like, okay, I mean, I'll give you an example. It's really simple example, but I mean, it shows how people sometimes are not aware, right? A friend of mine, she's a Black person, and during the last year, George Floyd, when the problem about Black Lives Matter and everything. So we are living in Montreal, and she was walking the street, I think around her neighborhood, and a woman approached her. Apparently the woman from Montreal, like Canada or something, and told her, we are not racist here. Wow. Muslims are racists. Mm-hmm. Do you see?
Yeah, wow.
It's like, don't you see that by saying or by pointing a finger at someone else, you are already racist?
Well, and I mean, there's a lot. If we look at some of these signs generally, I mean, we're in a highly triggered environment right now on many different issues across the globe that is doing just that, because that's how unsafe we feel, and our worthiness or our need to justify our worthiness. Everything, you know, as we bring awareness to someone's injustice, it's an attack on our own worthiness.
Exactly.
You know, somebody else is judging us, we have to judge them even harder.
Exactly.
You know, I care about other people, you don't. Like, I mean, we're really in these narratives and that are screwing with those computers and those core wounds intensely. And yes, that's a great example. And I think, you know, if we even just went through like a few things of, you know, that I can notice within myself or other people can find within themselves. So like your example, if we have a need to push our stance on someone, especially involuntarily so, like, I mean, unsolicited.
Exactly.
So it's like, I'm just standing here and I have this need to push or tell you.
And show you that I'm right, or show you that I am not wrong, right? And prove to you that I am good, I'm better than.
As that kicks in, no matter what our stance is and all the wonderful logical storytelling that we've created around it, good indicator that maybe it's an area for us to bring awareness to.
That's it. That's it. Because if I am aware, I would ask myself, well, why am I saying this, right?
In this particular, what is this exchange going to do to change any sort of?
Exactly. And that is it. It's like, if you are in denial and you deny that you're in denial, guess what? If you think you are right, guess what? If you're afraid that you are going to be wrong, guess what? If you think you are not racist, guess what? Because what? Because all of these things are very naturally as part of us. What is racism, right?
Prejudice, yeah.
What is prejudice? Is because we are judging, this is different than me, so this is dangerous to my safety, and so I reject it.
Right.
Or I want to protect myself from it, so I need to let it go or obliterate it or whatever. It's the same with religion. It's the same with everything we do in life. Everything that has ism in it, it has that, right? It causes anything that has division is because we are thinking this is different than me, and it may be affecting my safety.
Yes. Yes. So maybe I want to come back because I want to give people a short list. We won't make a long list, but a short list of a few things. I'll throw them out a little bit in compass, and then just tell me if I'm on to if it's in the right area or not. Okay. So so what we're talking about is harsh judgment. If I'm in a place of harsh judgment, generally, however you want to put that, and whoever you're judging, if we are emotionally charged in our judgment, good place for awareness.
Yes.
An indication of time to kind of expand a little. As a part of that, but I do want to call it out as being something separate too. You were talking earlier about how when our awareness expands, like our intelligence or like other things, the more we know we know nothing. And as awareness increases, there is an openness and an understanding that uncertainty is our truth. At least that's where I came. Is that I remember I got to. I'm like, there's no certainty. I mean, I'm sorry, guys, I really just don't see it anywhere. I feel like there's more likely, there is, we can get closer to a truth, but this idea that anything is certain or finite is just silliness and causing a lot of problems because we can't open up to possible new avenues or new perspectives. So when we get really obsessed with our need to be right and certainty, which can be that judgment as well, but I just want to call it out a little separately, maybe a good place to...
Yes, absolutely.
I maybe need to practice some awareness in this area.
As I said, we need always to practice awareness. It doesn't mean like as I said, I've been practicing it for myself for a while now, and boy, I feel like, oh my God, it's like at one point I was thinking that there will be an end, a perfection, and that's when I discovered that I was going towards something that is supposedly I'm going to reach the top,
right?
And it's felt as a failure at one point, right? And then I discovered that I was stuck in that, wanting to be perfect, wanting to be done it, and that's it, right? I know it all now, and so it's like it's a constant practice. And you said something that is really important, which is when we are aware, and that's where the intelligence of using our awareness, well, it has two meaning for me, but for now I'm gonna put it in that using your awareness intelligently, is that how can I do things, or I am in this situation, I'm aware of my emotions, I'm aware that I'm emotionally charged, I'm aware that my background or programming is kicking, I'm aware that I am having prejudiced thoughts, I'm aware of them, right? So, and I'm aware that I may be upset at myself for having all of that, because it's something I do not want to be. I want to be a good person. I do not want to be a racist. I do not want to hurt anyone, right? So how could I? So that's one thing. It's like, okay, well, I have these feelings. I'm a human, but doesn't mean that I just let it go. It's like, right. How can I use that energy or do things in the betterment of myself and without hurting others, at least, right? There are situations where you cannot avoid hurting someone, feeling, not even like, I'm not going to say physically, right? It's like we all make choices that impact other people. And for them, we've done them really wrong.
Right.
So, and that's where it comes as a tricky, is like, where we really wrong, we need to take responsibility. So that's where awareness is, like, where is my responsibility and where is the responsibility of the other person? So I deal with my responsibility here. Did I try my best to be, let's say, honest? So not to be, let's say, sneaky or lying or anything. So it's not that I am hurting them because I'm sneaky and lying. It's just that I hurt them because it was honest, and this is my decision, for example, right? That I leave, that I stay, that I whatever it is. So it's like, and instead of pointing a finger at someone else, it's like, right, it's your fault,
right?
Or you make me do this,
right?
We all react to each other,
right? Well, maybe to come, I think this is a nice little follow-up conversation too, as a potentially is, as we bring awareness to what you've spoken to a little bit today, is what awareness is, these different levels. What are we becoming aware of? These different parts of ourselves, and a greater connection to something else that's constantly expanding, that we don't know. We kind of come into knowing, but we don't know. But it's a beautiful process that is never ending. That's constantly. And our ability to, as we become more aware, that we can become more aware of our worthiness, our worthiness needs, and meet them in healthier ways. Use logical storytelling and programming in a healthier way for ourselves. And I'm doing a little recap here, and some signs that we can push our awareness, or maybe a good starting point of like, maybe I'll just kind of bring my attention here, is areas where we feel very emotionally charged, that we feel like, you know, if I feel like I need to like yell and scream because I'm so angry, which is okay, emotions are beautiful, but they're telling you to bring awareness there, and that's an opportunity.
And express these emotions in a safer way, right? It's not a destructive way. That's where awareness comes.
Yeah. Beautiful. And when we're feeling extra certain and we want to be right, that it's a good area for us to expand our mind, expand our awareness. If we are judging other people and cannot practice compassion, we cannot understand someone else's perspective at all. Good to practice a little awareness. Okay, well, I'm loving this as an introduction, and I think where everybody's going to want to know is what you're talking about here at the end. And I know it's like, okay, so now I have the awareness. Well, what do I do with it? I'm aware of the fact of all of this things, so now what do I do? How do I use that? You know, how do I start to kind of build on that awareness?
Whoa, that's a big topic, and I'd love to talk about that, right? It would be awesome if the people who are listening eventually or now would ask questions too, because then that would give us a lot of more examples that we can discuss. And it doesn't mean that the answer is the truth. Again, it's depending on how the person is living, depending on their life, depending on everything. It's just depending on their awareness. We are just giving sort of exercises or suggestions is how to expand and use your awareness intelligently.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that with us. As we can all, what would this world look like if we were all more aware? I think we'll find out here soon enough.
Good.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, it's one step at a time, baby step even, you know?
We can just recognize that like logical ego level, I would be very happy. If we could just kind of together kind of bring our awareness to just that. We don't need to go into the greater things, but just right there, it would be like, yes.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Laila. And I look forward to talking to you again. We'll do another video in a few weeks. So to those watching, can join anytime, Reimagine Together. I'm really trying to go live every Thursday if you want to join, ask some live questions as things move. Please do put in questions in the comment for further episodes, and thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.